Last year, when I talked about my dream Star Kid roles, I decided to leave off Nerdy Prudes Must Die because at the time it hadn't been released to YouTube yet. I had bought a digital ticket, so I had seen the show before, and I had listened to the soundtrack multiple times at this point, which is why I was able to have an answer. On that video, Tessa commented saying that they had also had a digital ticket and so had seen the show and was curious as to what role I had chosen. I then didn't answer, and for that I do apologize because I could have just messaged you. I just didn't right away, and then my brain decided that too much time had passed, and so I just couldn't do it then. All that being said, and considering Tessa posted a video this month talking about their Dream Star Kid roles, I figured the time has finally come to play the games of old, since Nerdy Prudes Must Die is now on YouTube, to finally return to it and talk about my dream role. I'm also going to include my dream roles from the 2 stage productions from the Tin Can Brothers, because while it is a separate company, it does include a lot of the same people. But first, Nerdy Prudes Must Die. So my answer last year was Wiggly. Wiggly fully appears in person in this show, or at least as much as an eldritch horror can fully appear in person. My dream role on Black Friday was Wiggly, and so the idea of being able to fully embody that character on stage was, at the time, too good to pass up. Also, playing Richie would be a lot of fun, so if we're going with the double casting, that would be good as well. However, the more that I watched it, and the more that I listened to the soundtrack, I realized that there was one character that I would want to play even more.
Did you miss me while I was gone?
Max Jaegerman is the epitome of the kind of villain that I would want to play. I mentioned when I talked about wanting to play Sweet Tooth that I just really wanted to play a ridiculous over-the-top villain, and Max is a ridiculous over-the-top villain. I mentioned when wanting to play Wiggly that I wanted to play a creepy villain, and Max is also a creepy villain. He does a great job of walking that line between ridiculous over the top, like when he fully beatboxes while coming on to stop a bullet from killing Pete so that he himself can kill Pete, to very creepy, like at the end of Act 1 when he kills Richie. Now, the problem with me portraying Max, which I will freely admit here, is that I am not an athlete. This is not really a dig at myself, it's more just kind of a statement of fact. Max is an athlete, and there's no point denying the fact that my body type is a lot more like John Madison, who plays Richie, and a lot less like Will Brander, who plays Max. But this is Dreamroll time. TikTok, it's Dreamroll o'clock. And therefore, Max Jaegerman is my answer. Solve It Squad. Solve It Squad was the Tin Can Brothers' first stage production and is a parody of Scooby-Doo. This one was tricky because all 3 of the male-presenting roles would be a lot of fun to play. Brian Rosenthal played literally every single other character that wasn't the main 4, and there are even a couple of scenes where it's just him playing multiple characters, and that would be a lot of fun. Gabe Greenspan plays Keith, the Fred Exby, who is a ridiculously over-the-top character, which has been fully established, I really enjoy playing, who is desperately clinging to his one claim to fame, namely being a child crime fighter. Joey Richter plays Scraggs, the Shaggy Exby, who ends up being the straight man to all of these ridiculous characters. Ultimately, though, I have come to a conclusion.
The name is Scraggs, my attention span is short.
Scraggs is here too, as an earlier Joey Richter is very fond of saying, get the job done. After the case that broke up the Solve It Squad and ended in the murder of Scraggs' best friend, his dog Klubert, Scraggs fully loses himself in his eventual job as an FBI agent. When a case comes up that is very similar to the MO of the person who killed Klubert, Scraggs realizes that this could be his only chance to catch the killer of his best friend. And he also knows that he can't do it without bringing the old gang back together, each of whom are in various states of disrepair. Scraggs' frustration at dealing with these various levels of ridiculousness would be a lot of fun to play. I mentioned this a little bit when I was talking about Star Kid Dream Rolls last year, but the character of Jeffrey on my channel, whenever he shows up during story-based things, has changed quite a bit, both in the way that he is portrayed on film, and also just from me as a person. Last year I talked about how he's a grumpy curmudgeon. He also has ended up becoming the straight man to a bunch of ridiculous characters, so I speak from experience when I say that it is a lot of fun to play. My camera died, and now it's a new day, so let's keep talking about Dream Rolls. I'd also be able to be that character while doing a silly voice, which would make it all the more funny. Spies Are Forever. Spies Are Forever is Tin Can Brothers' second stage production, and it is a parody of spy movies. Lots of good characters in this one, too, but one jumps to mind.
This is for...
The informant is an unnamed individual who spends most of their life undercover, to the point where they're not even really sure who they are anymore. As has been established so many times that I probably can't even count, I like playing ridiculous characters, and the informant certainly fits that bill. They're good at their job for the most part, but also maybe they just shouldn't have it anymore for their own health. Or maybe they just need to work through some stuff like how gender's a spectrum, I don't know. Anyway, I just think that this role would be a fun one to play. And those are my dream roles for those 3 shows. I haven't seen Cinderella's Castle yet, so I obviously can't say what my dream role for that would be, but probably it's going to end up being Sir Hop-a-Lot based on the small amount of information that I have. But we'll see. So with all that being said, I will see all of you